Cheating Story's wife's affair ignited my fight in Mile High. I found her wedding ring on his desk, not mine. That was the moment I knew our love was a lie. If this story cuts deep, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Viora for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. I'm Seth Whitaker, 47. A man who thought he'd cracked the code to a good life. I ran a small wealth management firm in Denver, pulling in $5 million a year, enough for a sleek Lodo loft, a cabin in Aspen, and a life most guys my age envied. My fiancée, Claire, 35, was the spark, radiant, sharp, with a smile that could close any deal. She was a marketing director at Peak Trust Bank, her name whispered in boardrooms, her ambition a fire. I admired. We'd been together 6 years, from a chance meeting at a charity golf tournament to lazy Sundays grilling steaks on our balcony. I proposed on a snowy hike in the Rockies, her yes echoing in the pines. We were set for a spring wedding, or so I thought, but even the best plans crumble when trust does. The first crack came 3 months before the big day. Claire started pulling away, fewer laughs, more silences. She'd scroll her phone at dinner, eyes distant, brushing off wedding plans with a shrug. Just stressed, she'd say, her perfume lingering as she left for meetings. I chalked it up to work. Claire was a climber, and I respected that, but doubt's a slow poison. One night, her phone buzzed on the counter while she showered. I glanced, a reflex, not suspicion. The name Cody Baldwin flashed, no title, just a text. Missed you at the lounge tomorrow. My gut twisted. Cody was her colleague, 46, a Silver Fox exec with a penthouse and a reputation for charming anything that moved. I'd seen him at her bank's galas, his hand too low on her back, her giggle too bright. She'd called him a mentor. That text wasn't mentorship. I didn't confront her. I'm Seth Whitaker. I analyze, strategize like I do with portfolios. So I watched Claire's late nights grew, her lipstick bolder, her excuses thinner. One evening, she left her laptop open, an email from Cody, glowing drinks at the Brown Palace 9. Wear that blue dress. The brown wasn't a work spot, it was a date, and that blue dress was my birthday gift to her. My chest burned, but I stayed calm. I needed proof, not just a hunch. I checked her phone later while she slept, the passcode, our anniversary, a bitter jab. The messages were a knife. Your trouble, Claire, only for you, Cody. A photo, her leaning into him at a rooftop bar, her eyes alive in a way they hadn't been with me in months. This wasn't a fling, it was a betrayal, and I was the fool still planning our vows. I kept it together, made her coffee, played the clueless fiancé, but inside I was plotting. Claire thought she could play me. I'd show her who Seth Whitaker was. The first twist hit at a client dinner. My buddy Tom, a tech guy who'd audited Peak Trust systems, pulled me aside. Seth, something's off. Cody's pushing shady loans through the bank and Claire's approving them. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a cheating wife story, it was a scam. The loans were small, $50,000 here, $75,000 there, but totaled $600,000 funneled to shell companies. If this broke, Peak Trust would crash, and Claire's career would be over. I didn't know if she was in love or in too deep, but either way she tied her fate to Cody's. I didn't call her out. I needed to be smart, not loud. I pulled bank records through a contact legally. Just Claire's signatures were everywhere, reckless and bold. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was risking everything we'd built. I had leverage, but I wanted more than a fight. I wanted them to feel the weight of their lies. That's when the second twist landed. A cream envelope arrived, sealed with Peak Trust's logo, inviting me to their annual gala at the Botanic Gardens. My name was on it like a slap. Claire hadn't mentioned it, probably betting I'd skip. I RSVP'd in a heartbeat. If they wanted to dance, I'd lead. The gala was a spectacle. Twinkling lights, black ties, and egos thicker than the wine. Claire was stunning in that blue dress, her arm looped through Cody's as they schmoozed. She didn't see me slip in, a whiskey in hand, blending with the crowd. They were slick, subtle touches, shared smiles. But I knew betrayal's language. Cody took the stage, all charm, toasting Claire as the bank's future. The room clapped. My grip tightened on the glass. Then he saw me. His eyes narrowed, but he recovered fast. To Seth Whitaker, he said, voice oily, the man who keeps Claire grounded. The crowd chuckled, but it was a jab sharp in public. Claire's gaze found mine, panic flashing. I raised my glass, smiling like I was in on it, but my blood was lava. Cody wanted to humiliate me. I'd bury them both. I stepped forward, clinking my glass. To Claire, I said, voice steady as steel, and Cody for showing me what trust looks like. The room hushed. Claire's face drained of color. Cody's smirk faltered. I didn't stop Peak Trust's thriving, but some loans seem Off should we discuss, Cody? Murmurs rippled. Scandal's a magnet and I just flipped the switch. Cody laughed it off, but it was forced. Claire grabbed his arm, whispering fast, I didn't care, I'd lit the fuse. Later, Claire cornered me by the bar, her perfume too close. Seth, what the hell was that? Her voice was low, desperate. I leaned in my breath on her ear. You tell me, Claire. Or is Cody writing your lines now? She froze, lips parting, but I was already walking away, the Denver skyline glittering through the glass. I wasn't her fool anymore. The Denver skyline pulsed like a warning. I stood in my loft, the gala's echoes ringing Claire's pale face. Cody's forced laugh, my words sparking chaos. The bank records on my desk were a loaded gun proof of Claire and Cody's dirty loans. This cheating stories war wasn't just personal anymore, it was a fight for my life. And I was all in. I started with Tom, my tech buddy. Dig deeper into Cody. I said over a secure line, the city's hum outside my window. I want his accounts, his contacts, everything. Tom hesitated. Seth, this is big. Cody's not just a player, he's connected. I didn't care. If Claire was in bed with his schemes, I'd expose them both. By morning, Tom had a hit. Cody was meeting a fixer named Victor Crane at a private lounge in Cherry Creek tomorrow. If I wanted the truth, I'd have to walk into the lion's den. I didn't blink. I pulled on a tailored jacket, wired myself with a recorder Tom rigged, and strode into the lounge like I belonged. The place was all leather and shadows. Lowlights, whiskey fumes, men who'd trade loyalty for a deal. Cody was in a booth, his silver hair catching the glow, talking to Crane, a wiry guy with a scar on his cheek. I ordered a bourbon, kept my distance, and let the recorder work. Snippets came through. Peak Trust's clean. Claire's locked in. Feds won't sniff us. My jaw tightened. Claire wasn't just cheating. She was neck deep in a laundering ring, and Peak Trust was their front. Then the first twist hit. Crane glanced my way, his eyes too sharp. I played it cool, swirling my drink, but my pulse spiked. He leaned into Cody, who nodded, and a bouncer was at my side in seconds. Mr. Crane wants you, he growled. No way out. I followed the recorder, hot in my pocket, and faced Crane's smirk. Seth Whitaker, he said, voice like gravel. You're poking where you shouldn't. Cody's stare was ice, but he stayed silent. What's Claire to you? I asked. Bold. Crane laughed. She's useful. You, a problem. The threat hung heavy, but I held his gaze. Problems get solved, I said, and walked out, their eyes burning my back. Back at the loft, I played the recording for my lawyer, Ellen Ramsey, a bulldog who'd gut anyone for me. This is gold, she said, but Crane's a ghost, runs money for Denver's elite. We need more to nail him. I nodded. Then we get it. I told Tom to track Crane's moves. If he was Cody's link, he was my way in. The second twist came fast. Tom called at midnight. Seth Crane's not just a fixer. He's tied to a Fed. Agent Mark Dillon. Looks like Dillon's dirty feeding Crane intel. My blood ran cold. A corrupt Fed. This wasn't just a cheating wife story, it was a conspiracy, and I was a loose end. I didn't wait. I sent an anonymous tip to a reporter, Kate Harper at the Denver Post, leaking just enough of the loan records to stir the pot. By morning, whispers of Peak Trust's irregularities were online, and Cody's name was in the mix. I wanted him to sweat, but the third twist hit like a brick. Claire showed up at my loft, unannounced, her eyes red, her blouse wrinkled. Seth, I messed up, she said, voice cracking. Cody, it wasn't what you think. I crossed my arms, the city's glow mocking us through the glass. Then what was it, Claire love money? She flinched. He promised me a way out. Crane's running everything, I'm trapped. Her words stung, but I didn't soften. You chose him. I said you chose this. She stepped closer, her perfume a ghost of better days. I didn't sleep with him, Seth. I got lost. I wanted to believe her, but her texts, her lies were louder. Help me stop Crane, I said. She shook her head. He'll destroy us both. I held her gaze. He can try. She left her heels clicking like a countdown, and I knew I was running out of time. The fourth twist came at dawn. Tom texted Crane's moving cash tonight, $5 million through Peak Trust. Cody's overseeing. I saw my shot. I told Ellen to prep a dossier for the feds. Clean feds, not Dillon's crew. Then I tailed Cody myself, borrowing Tom's beat-up sedan to blend in. He pulled into a warehouse in Rhino. All graffiti and rust. I parked a block away, the Glock I kept for emergencies, heavy in my jacket. Inside, Cody was with Crane crates stacked high, voices low. I crept closer, phone recording. Crane's words were clear. Claire's done after this. Loose ends don't last. My heart stopped. Claire wasn't just trapped, she was expendable. I was ready to bolt when the fifth twist hit. A hand grabbed my shoulder. Kate Harper, the reporter, her eyes wide. "What the hell are you doing here?" she whispered. I cursed under my breath. She'd followed the same lead, sniffing Crane's deal. "Get out!" I hissed, but headlights flashed, Crane's men closing in. We ducked behind a dumpster, my pulse hammering as boots crunched closer. Kate's breath was ragged, but she didn't panic. "I've got a source," she whispered. "Dylan's not the only Fed. There's a clean one. Agent Laura Tate." Hope flickered, but we weren't safe yet. We slipped out barely, and I drove Kate to a diner in Aurora, far from Crane's reach. Tate's building. "A case," she said, sipping coffee. "Give her your evidence and Crane's done." I nodded, but my mind was on Claire. Was she a victim, a liar, or both? I handed Kate the recording, keeping a copy. "Get it to Tate." I said. She eyed me. "You're in deep, Seth. Watch your back." I didn't need the warning. The city was a jungle and I was prey. That night I got a text from an unknown number. "Back off, Whitaker, or you're next." Attached was a photo of me at the warehouse, caught mid-step. My blood froze. Crane knew my moves, and Claire was still out there. Maybe playing me. Maybe not. I locked the loft, loaded the Glock, and made a choice. I wasn't running. I was Seth Whitaker, and I'd end this on my terms. The Denver skyline burned like a fuse, each light. A reminder of the war I'd started. I stood in my loft, the Glock heavy in my hand. Crane's warehouse photo. A taunt on my phone. Claire's plea, "I'm trapped," echoed. But trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. This cheating stories saga had stripped me bare, but I was Seth Whitaker, and I'd end it on my terms or die trying. I called Kate Harper, the reporter, first. "Tate's our shot." I asked the city's hum, a low growl outside. Kate's voice was firm. "Agent Laura Tate's clean Seth. She's building a case on Crane, but your recording's the key." I sent her a copy. Keeping the original, Crane was moving $5 million through Peak Trust tonight, and Claire was either his pawn or his accomplice. I needed to intercept the transfer and find her victim or liar. She was my only link to the truth. I told Tom, my tech guy, to hack Peak Trust's servers and flag the transaction. "You're nuts," he said, fingers flying. "Crane's got bots watching their system." I leaned in, voice steel. "Then be better." Tom nodded, but his eyes said I was walking a tightrope over hell. The first twist hit before I could gear up. Ellen. My lawyer called at 4 a.m. "Cody's not just gone, he's dead." My breath caught dead. How Ellen's voice was grim. "Shot found in a ditch off I-70. No witnesses, clean hit, Cody Baldwin. The silver-haired snake who'd seduced Claire was out of the game. Crane's work or someone else's?" My mind spun, but I pushed it down. "Find his accounts." I told Ellen. "He was moving money. I want it. If Cody was dead, his trail might lead to Crane's endgame." Ellen agreed, but warned me, Crane's closing ranks. "Seth, you're next." I didn't wait for the Reaper. I loaded. The Glock grabbed a burner phone and headed to the Rhino warehouse. The air was thick with oil and menace, the building a rusted fortress. I slipped inside the gun, a cold weight. My phone recording voices cut through the dark, Crane's sharp as a blade, and Claire's brittle but defiant. "Victor, you got your money. Let me go." Crane's laugh was venom. "You're a liability." Claire like Cody. My heart stopped. Crane had killed Cody, and Claire was next. I crept closer, hiding behind crates, and saw them. Crane, 2 goons at his side, and Claire, wrists bound, her blue dress torn, eyes darting like a caged animal. The second twist landed like a grenade. Crane's phone buzzed, and he smirked, reading aloud. "Whitaker's at the warehouse." My blood froze. Someone had ratted me out. "Claire." "No." Her face paled, mirroring my shock. Crane turned, scanning the shadows. "Come out, Seth. Let's talk." His voice was a trap, but I stayed still, recording as he spilled his plan. The $5 million was a decoy meant to draw me in. The real haul. $25 million had already moved, laundered through Peak Trust to a cartel in Mexico. Claire was the fall guy, set to take the blame when the feds came knocking. I gripped the Glock, ready to act, when a figure emerged, Cody alive, his pistol gleaming. "You're slipping, Victor," he sneered. Claire gasped. Cody wasn't dead. It was a ruse to throw Crane off, and he was here to steal the pot. Chaos erupted. Cody fired, grazing Crane's arm. The goons returned fire, and I seized the moment, shooting a crate to collapse it. The crash buying me seconds. Claire screamed, and I sprinted to her, slicing her ties with a pocket knife. "Run," I hissed, shoving her toward an exit. Bullets flew, pinging steel as we dove through a side door, the night swallowing us. My car was a block away, and we made it, tires screeching as I floored it. Claire's breath ragged beside me. "Why'd you save me?" she asked, voice breaking. I kept my eyes on the road, the city a blur. I'm not sure you're worth it. It was honest raw, and her silence stung more than her lies. We holed up in a motel in Arvada, cash only the Glock on the nightstand. Claire's face was bruised, her story pouring out. Cody had promised her a cut of the money. Crane had threatened her life, and she'd spiraled, chasing power she couldn't control. I didn't sleep with him, Seth. She swore, tears streaming. But I lost you. Her words were a knife-twisting old wounds. I wanted to believe her, but her texts, her choices loomed large. Prove it, I said. Give me Crane's buyer. She hesitated, then nodded. Lena Holt. She's meeting him tomorrow. Union Station, noon. It was a lead, but trust was a gamble I couldn't afford. The third twist hit at dawn. Kate called, her voice tense. Tate's raiding Crane's offices, but Agent Mark Dillon's gone rogue. He's hunting you, Seth. Dillon, the dirty Fed, wasn't just Crane's puppet. He was desperate, his career crumbling with the leaks. I checked my burner phone. A text from an unknown number. You're dead. Whitaker attached was a photo of me leaving the motel, timestamped an hour ago. My stomach dropped. Dillon was close, and Claire's lead might be another trap. I told her to stay put. Locked the door and met Tom at a truck stop in Brighton, far from Crane's eyes. Dillon's got your plates, your face, Tom said, handing me a fake ID. You need to move. I shook my head. Not till Crane's down. Tom hacked Dillon's phone, pulling a location, Union Station, same as Claire's tip. Too neat. I drove to the station early, blending into the noon crowd. The Glock tucked under my jacket. Lena Holt was there, sharp in a black coat, her eyes colder than the steel tracks. Crane stood beside her, a briefcase in hand, his goons scanning the crowd. I recorded from a bench, heart pounding as they exchanged words. The cartel's happy, Whitaker's the last loose end. Lena nodded, then glanced my way, deliberate, like she'd clocked me from the start. The fourth twist slammed home. Lena wasn't just Crane's buyer, she was his enforcer, and I'd walked into her net. I bolted, weaving through commuters, but Dillon's SUV cut me off, his gun drawn. Game over, Whitaker. He snarled, badge glinting like a lie. I dove behind a pillar as he fired, screams erupting. Then a shot rang out. Not Dillon's. He crumpled, blood pooling, and Lena stood behind him, her pistol smoking. You're welcome, she said, voice ice, before vanishing into the crowd. My mind reeled. Lena had saved me. But why I didn't wait to find out. I ran the station. A chaos of sirens and shouts, my phone buzzing with Kate's text. Tate's got Crane. Get out now. I ditched the car and took a bus to Fort Collins, blending into the college town's hum. At a dive bar, I checked the news. Kate's story had detonated, exposing Crane's cartel ties. Dillon's corruption and Peak Trust's collapse. Cody was in custody, his death a failed ploy to escape. Claire was gone, no trace since the motel. I wanted to hate her, but her words, I lost you, haunted me. Was she a victim, a mastermind, or both? I'd never know, and that cut deeper than her betrayal. The fifth twist came a month later. A package arrived at my new rental. No return address. Inside was a flash drive and Claire's handwriting. Seth, I didn't betray you. Crane forced the Union Station tip. This is everything. The drive held Crane's full ledger accounts, names, cartel deals, enough to bury his network for good. A letter followed. I'm starting over. Forgive me or don't, you're free. I stared at the words, her absence a weight. Had she played me to the end, or was this her atonement? I sent the drive to Tate anonymously and watched the headlines flare. Crane's empire fell, his allies indicted Peak Trust. A memory. I moved to a cabin in Estes Park, trading Denver's glitter for mountain silence. My firm was limping. Clients spooked, but I rebuilt, taking small deals, clean money. The internet churned with this cheating stories saga. Some called me a hero, others a fool for chasing Claire's shadow. I didn't care. I'd fought for my soul and won, but the cost was etched in every line on my face. I hiked. The Rockies lifted weights, found solace in the dawn's quiet. One morning at a diner, a woman named Nora, 43, warm and sharp, offered me coffee. You've got a story, don't you? She said, her smile easy. I chuckled, to sound foreign but real. Maybe I was ready to tell a new one. I stood on my porch, the mountains endless, and thought of my dad's words. A man's strength is in what he builds, not what he breaks. I'd torn down Crane, saved Claire, but hadn't healed myself. Claire was out there. Maybe redeemed, maybe lost. Did I owe her forgiveness? Did I owe myself peace? Or was the real fight learning to live without answers? Like what you heard. Hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Viora, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet.